Okay, so here's how we go about using the table. The first thing is the z-score that we're going to use always needs to be in the form of a number, period, a two-digit number. Now when we go to find a z-score, there might be a lot of places past the decimal, but we'll always stop just so that we have two digits past the decimal. We'll round to that point. So the first thing we do is we look for the ones and tenths place of that number on the left of the table, and then we're going to look for the hundredths place on the top of the table. And just to kind of help clarify that, so the ones and the tenths place will be the whole number and the first digit past the decimal. That will look on the left edge of the table. The hundredths place is always the second digit past the decimal. And so we'll go ahead and do an example where I've taken a cutout of the table. I don't have the whole table, just the part we need. So I'm asked to look up a z-score of 2.51. So let's take that 2.51. I need to look for my ones and tenths place on the left edge of the table. So the whole number and the first digit past the decimal, and hopefully you can see that somewhere over here on the left side of the table. And for that 1, we're going to look at the top of the table, right? The hundredths place we look for on the top of the table, which realize we'll have to look for it in the form of 0.01 because it's really that 1 needs to be in the hundredths place. And then you should see that digit up here. And just to help clarify how we've broken up the number, what we did is we took the 2.5 from the left, the 0.01 from the right, and if you were to add them, lining up decimals, it is our z-score. So we just kind of talk about it as a 1 on top. Now let's go ahead and come over here and use the table. So first I go to the left, I find 2.5 and I'm going to read to the right. Then I'm going to go up to the top and find 0.01 and read straight down. And ultimately my goal is to find where do those two rows and columns, the lines cross. And as you can see, they cross at 0.9940. So the answer to my question is when z is 2.51, the area to the left of that is 0.9940. So the probability of being less than 2.51 standard deviations is, 99.4% chance. But we'll get more in practice with that in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to practice using the table with a couple. I didn't want you to work ahead, so that's why I have them blanks. So first, we want to practice looking up a z-score of negative 2.68. Find the area to the left of that. So to find negative 2.68, I start by looking at my normal tables. So I've got my standard normal tables both right here. And since it's a negative number I'm looking for, I don't want the positive z-scores, I want the negative z-scores. So for negative 2.6, here's the negatives, I find negative 2.6. For the last digit of an 8, I come up to the 8, and now I try to figure out where do these two meet, and as I'm reading across and down, it looks like 0037 is my answer. So we found that the area was 0.0037. Okay, let's do another one. Maybe you want to try this one ahead on your own. So now let's do this where we have a z-score of negative 0.52. Find the area to the left of negative 0.52. So now I'm looking for negative 0.052. Again, another negative score. So I'm going to start on my left table. Negative 0. Okay, here we go. These numbers all begin with a 0. And so 0, 5 is over here on the left. Come up to the top for 02 and start reading straight down. And it looks like I'm across from 30.15, so 0.3015. Okay, great. So now we can record that the area to the left of negative 0.52 is 0.3015, 0.3015. And for the last one, this one asks us to look up a z-score of positive 1.08. Now think about it, because this one's positive, I have to use a different table. Z equals 1.08. This is a positive number, so I want to come to the right page for me. 1.08, so I'm reading down, doesn't begin with 1, doesn't begin with 1. Okay, here's my section that begins with a 1, and 08. Well, remember, I'm just going for the first digit, so 1.0, and the 8 would be up above, and so I'm reading right across this line until I get to this box, and 0.8599 is the area to the left of that z-score. Correct. So now we found that the area to the left of positive 1.08 is 0.8599.